Engage has been out for a few months now, so with everyone getting a chance to play through it, I think it's a good time to share some thoughts about it. Today I'm going to be looking at the top 10 characters in this game, well, to me at least. To be clear, this is not the best units, just the ones that I like the most. My criteria is basically, I don't know if they're cool, I guess. Some combination of good design, entertaining dialogue, and fun to use as a unit. Whoever ticks those boxes correctly for me is going to end up here. Before we begin, here's a word from our sponsor.
This man right here, Mr. Klauz, he needs to hit 500 subs. We gotta achieve that goal for him. So it costs nothing. It's absolutely free. You don't have to hit the notification bell, although it is appreciated. But go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Maybe even drop a like.
Coming in at number 10, we got Fogado. He made an awesome first impression. You'll get introduced to him where he hits you with the most charming speech and vibrant voice. So good. Not to mention his design with all the feathers and stuff, super stylish I must say. Plus, he's a mountain archer, which are always fun to use. He reminds me of Klauz a little bit, since like royal archer, laid back personality, you know. Only reason he's not super high is, I don't know, he just kind of fell off later. Many of the secondary royals just end up disappearing from the story, which was a little disappointing, and I had trouble fitting a specific emblem with him. But he's still a great dude, and I look forward to using him again in future playthroughs. Next up we got Goldmary. Illusia has some of the more interesting personalities. Similar with Fogado, she is fairly charming, but now she has a more arrogant side to her. But she's funny. Some of her supports were just ridiculous, like where she's crying in front of Etie or just trolling Etie for a while until she actually tries to make friends, which, yeah, went pretty well then. In addition to all the jokes, though, as a unit she's pretty solid. She comes in as late game pre-promo, which is pretty good position to be in. Had a lot of success using it with Erica, and Twin Strike ended up being a pretty successful nuke. Not too much crazy stuff, but she's strong and probably has one of the goofiest personalities in the game. I also just like her name. I mean, it has the word gold in it. That's always good. Next up, we got another prince, Diamant. He's not like a crazy personality or anything. He's just cool. The cutscene where he welcomes you to Brodia, just a strong dude in front of a castle, like, dang. Ladies want him, and men want to be him. He mainly earns a spot as a unit, though. I had him paired up with Ike, which, perfect, yeah. Ike is basically the main tank emblem, and with Diamant able to hold choke point super well and setting up great either, it's so cool to do. I don't know why they put him with Roy in all honesty. And even when you first get to use him, he was great, always doubling, always proccing crits. Perfect. I forged up a steel sword at +4, and that all alone carried him almost into end game. His class will even give him 2 high weapon ranks. Great unit, cool character. One unit that I didn't expect to end up liking as much as I did was Kagetsu. I kinda thought he was a woman when I first saw him in pre-release, but turns out he just got some style. I don't really know how to describe his personality aside from polite go-getter maybe? Similar to Diamant though, he earns a spot through his use as a unit. I don't know if he's the consensus best unit, but he's a pre-promote that joins fairly early with these bonkers stats, like, why wouldn't you use him? I paired him with Roy in order to take advantage of the holdout skill, but he just dodges everything anyway, so he doesn't really need it that bad. I also set him up with a bunch of OP swords. One was like a +5 loadout with the Blazing Blessing, and anytime you see a crit rate over 50%, that's like neuron activation right there. I do also appreciate him for helping me like Roy more than I did before. Next up we got Ivy. Once again, she's just cool. Her overall design, it's a little weird, but I think it works. And they really nailed the hair though with a deep purpley color. I thought it was great. I also love her class. Flying magic users are super fun to play, only really behind like a flying archer or something. And keeping consistent with the last 2 characters, she's pretty good as a unit. Of course you got the flying utility, but she can hit hard. Takes a little work to double, but not too bad, and she was surprisingly bulky. I was really impressed with her defense stat on my first playthrough, because I just assumed, you know, flyer, low defense, kinda goes hand in hand, but no, she could take a few hits actually. I do also think she's an interesting character. When you first meet her as an enemy, she comes off as this cold-hearted killer, but like when she ends up joining you, it's kinda the opposite. She's quiet and reserved, and ultimately wants the best for her nation. She's fairly well-rounded, good character, and really good as a unit. Plus that one line in the earlier support.
Start with why you seem to have such anger toward me?
I love you.
Number 5 is Zelkov. Yeah, it's just the way he talks.
Hello, Zelkov. I'm Anna, but you can call me Lady Anna for short. Nice meeting you.
What a delightful child you are.
What do you want with me? Is it a fight? I haven't even done anything to you.
I require the wool of an alpaca. Why are you staring at me?
I think my sense of humor is kind of broken since it always gets me as if I'm somehow not expecting it. He even says it in the title screen. I enjoyed using him as a unit, I guess, though I didn't really pair him with an emblem. I felt like he had this lone wolf personality, so it was just zipping around the map, dodging, getting crits. Fun time. One underrated aspect of him, though, is he's a really good guy. He has this one sport where he helped take care of an orphan bird and is sad to let it go. Like, how can you not like that? That's so pure. In the end, yeah, he's kind of a fun character, and he's fairly fun to use as a unit, but it's just the way he speaks that just makes him one of my favorites. Also, I'm just noticing that Ivy and her retainers are all one after another here. Number 4 is Celine, Princess of Firene. To start, her design is great. The hair and the poof, it feels soft and light, you know? Outside of that, though, she's actually a pretty interesting character. At first, it's like, oh yeah, she likes tea. But you eventually find her other side, which is, you know, murdering criminals. Like, that's super hardcore. She honestly reminds me of Celica. Like, they're both princesses, both use swords and magic, both seem gentle on the surface but will do anything to protect others, and they even have the same first 4 letters of their names. Makes a lot of sense that she starts out with her as an emblem. Speaking of emblems, I eventually had her use Micaiah, so a few nutty staff things occurred, which is always fun. Celine also needs to be one of the better dodge tanks in the game, which helps offset her defensive stats. Finally, I just really like how she says this line.
Celine has arrived.
That's honestly why she scored so high. Now we're in the top 3. I consider these like the next level, belonging to my favorite characters in the franchise. Starting this off, we have my boy Amber. I initially thought he was going to be annoying, but like his intro had him just get flung into battle on a horse, and he seemed to be an animal lover, and I am too, so worth a shot to try him out. And after giving him some use and reading supports, turns out he's just insanely likable. His personality is summed up by 2 things: alpaca wrangling and starting a legend. Every interaction he has, it's comical with super positive vibes. He had a good combo with Vander. I liked how he talked with Diamant after the truth potion. Support with Jade where the alpaca gets the best of him. Even Diamant and Jade in one of their own supports talk about him, and it's still a good laugh. As a unit, he's not inherently great or anything, but he was able to hold his own. He's basically the only character I did some reclassing with, so that gave him some flair as well. For his emblem, I chose Leaf, which, not the best one, but that quadruple hit, he does it so well. Amber's the type of character that you want to be friends with. He's just such a good dude, and that's all we really needed. The official runner-up for this list is Etie. The first thing I want to mention, her name. It's sharp and fancy. I love it. Her character revolves around being athletic, training, working out, and all that stuff, and I found it relatable at least. Like, yeah, I love characters who are always trying to be better, and it's even better when you get good jokes out of it. We already talked about her support with Goldmary, which was hilarious, but I also remember the support with Bouchon very well, which was basically like, why are you so strong? I don't know. I'll crack you. She got like the perfect amount of having a temper for being funny, but not overbearing. Her voice is so good too, and I think she was casted perfectly. Like the way she says the word so, it's hard to explain, it just sounds so good. But what really made me like Etie was using her as a unit. I paired her up with Lynn, who was one of the best handlers in the game, and it was so much fun. Speed Taker skill was great for fixing her low speed. Launching Acid Storm with the Mula gear was super reliable and good at taking down all the annoying dragons. And the illusory doubles that were always dodging and hopping into the chain attacks with the awesome voice lines. So much fun. I'm sure other characters will be just as fun to use with Lynn, but my experience was Etie and I loved it. Okra seems generally more popular, but for me, it's always going to be Etie with the pumped up attitude. Gotta respect the muscly woman. One of my favorite characters ever is Fiora from FE7. You know, blue hair, mage killer, Pegasus Knight. She's my girl. Anyways, in the very first Engage trailer, I saw a blue hair Pegasus Knight and knew who I was going to end up liking. And let me tell you, Chloe did not disappoint, and she's my favorite character in the game. Character-wise, it's not revolutionary. She just likes fairy tales, being a hero, just, you know, good person. But she also has this trait where she'll just ask other characters, like, want to go eat this flame-grilled snake sandwich or some other kind of gross food, and every single person just replies, what is wrong with you? Even in her Benet support, she asks him to make something, he's just like, no. And similarly to Zelkov, I always find it funny. As a unit, I mean, she was the strongest in my playthrough. She's a flyer, so it's already pretty good, and of course I had to dump some stat boosts, including the boost, so getting like 7 movement. That's pretty fun. I tried pairing her with a bunch of emblems, but the one that really stuck was Corin. I felt like their personalities worked well, but also like seeing her hit 75 HP or just watching her zoom around and freeze a group of enemies, it was so good. In true Pegasus Knight fashion, she was also a good mage killer, and since she's got a lot of favoritism, she was just a good killer in general. I forged up a +4 javelin and she can still do good with it. Chloe is both a great character, a great unit, and stands among my top favorites of the series. She's someone who, if I lose her in an Iron Man, I'd end up being pretty sad by it. So, these are my favorite characters in Engage. I think this is a really strong cast. Sure, they aren't all deep, but pretty much everyone is fun, and with the emblems, they can all get some use as units. I honestly like a lot of the characters in this game, and way more than this list can hold, and I'm excited to play through it again with some different units. Feel free to let me know who you like in the comments. I know there's lots of Unaka and Allchrist fans, but maybe there's some fellow Etie enthusiast or Chloe enjoyers watching this. Anyways, I'll have more to talk about this game for the future, so if you enjoy this, I hope you look forward and stick around and check that out as well. For now though, see ya!